You sure you don't want to start over the meeting? We're
Whatever.
killed 15 minutes already almost.
Yeah, we're in it. It's fine. Welcome to part 3 of episode 5 of the Going 5 Hole podcast reboot. Mike, Dennis, Alex, you know us at this point. I hope you watched the first 2 parts.
We have really slacked off on these intros.
I just wanted to thank you guys for bringing me back for my 4th episode right now.
You are by far the
my 4th episode in what, 2 weeks?
You're just like a staple of the podcast.
Technically, 2 episodes if you want to be annoying.
You're just a part
videos.
of it. You're just a part of it now. Unlike someone.
Well, I mean, the other guy didn't
tonight.
look like a hockey player, so.
No, yeah. That, whoever said that, appreciate the compliment, but you must, whatever you're smoking, we want some of it.
Yeah.
But let's go quickly.
Hi to our hockey if that's being posted there.
Yeah, it will be. Well, I posted our Rangers just because it's
okay.
Pretty much what it's about. And you can't actually post those in our hockey. They don't let you. But
guidelines.
Let's go here because I think we wanted to get into this, but we both could have went on a tangent.
Yeah.
Possible trades. And no, we're not talking about the trading the number 1 pick because once again, I'll repeat myself. If you want to trade the first pick, click the fucking top X in the right corner there and fuck off. Anyway.
If they're not a Rangers fan, then I'm
I don't give a shit what they think if they're not a Rangers fan. I don't even care what half the people think of this. This is just us trying to have some fun. But anyway, I think now that you have Laugh, I think it is almost imperative that this roster gets shaken up a bit. I think this affords you the opportunity to do that. I think we all agree that I think somebody who might be a casualty of this is Buchnevich. And I don't know necessarily, and I think we spoke about this before. I know we spoke about this before because it just happened. We don't know exact players because I think that's like who would be here. I think we could dream and say like, oh man, I'd love to get that Trevor Van Riemsdyk guy or whoever. But personally, I think with Buch, I think he becomes a little bit expendable now because now you're going to – I know that Laugh and Panarin and Kreider both play the left, but you could have Panarin maybe move to the right because that is technically his natural position. I know he plays his off wing. If he'd be open to it, I think that's almost better for the Rangers. So let's say this. Is there anything that you would like to see with maybe like a package deal with Buch, or do you even think it's possible, Al? I mean, do you think that that's something you'd be open to or something you just would be like, no, don't mess with it. I like that player.
No, that's actually the one guy that I really think that you could trade, like you were saying, especially, I mean, the fact that Laugh's coming in now, you can move, like you were saying, Panarin can move to the right. This is a hypothetical situation. Panarin can move to the right. Capo Caco can move onto the first and Buch's spot, and then you put Laugh on the left on the second line. I mean, there's your top 6. That's a solid top 6. You know, right. I think Buch, especially as I mentioned in the previous episode with Kravtsov possibly being able to come over and make this team, it really gives you the flexibility to move one of these wingers. And I think Buch is young enough, is shown enough that a team would be interested, you know. Even if you don't get a package deal together, just him by himself, I think.
For a team pushing for the playoffs, I think a guy like Buch could be invaluable as like a depth kind of scorer because, once again, he's kind of shown he can play anywhere up and down that lineup. I mean, not really like a fourth line type of guy, but like he could be a perfect depth scorer for a team like maybe, I don't know, like Colorado or something like that. Not saying that, yes, but
they don't need help scoring. Did you not watch the last game?
Well, they played the Arizona Coyotes, who are an actual group of Coyotes. May have.
Oh, I feel bad. My neighbor's a Yotes fan, and he's pretty upset.
What is that even?
He's from Arizona.
Oh, okay. All right. That makes sense.
He's like, I was born and raised in Arizona.
I was like, okay, well, then that checks out. But Bruce, same thing with you. Is there something with Buch you think that there's a market? Do you think there's a market for him? Do you think you'd like to see him go?
There's a definite market, and I honestly think like the best deal possible for the Rangers, if you're looking at speeding up the rebuild again, is packaging that Carolina pick with Buchnevich or even Georgiev if it's like a sign and trade, or you just trade his rights because I think the value is still there. But I mean, ultimately it's a move you probably have to make now because like the money's just not gonna be there. Even like I said, you're gonna have Stahl's money, Brennan Smith's money, and Henrik Lundqvist's money coming off the books. That comes out to about something like $18 million, rough math. But you need to spend that money because you're going to have Zibanejad's contract is up in 2 seasons, and you obviously can't afford to lose a guy like him. And then you're going to have to pay Capo Caco when the time comes. You're going to have to pay Adam Fox when the time comes. And I just think the money, especially if the cap's going to be flat for a couple of years, I think you have to get creative, and moving money now while the value's there is the way to go. I mean, it sucks, but this team's not in position to win next season, even with someone like Lafreniere coming in. Like he'll be a difference maker eventually, not his rookie season. At least that shouldn't be the expectation.
Yeah.
So I think this offseason's important to get, because I think someone like Georgiev's, his trade value was probably the highest it might be at the trade deadline. Again, I don't know what they do with him yet, but someone like Buchnevich, where
trading goalies is always a weird science. Like it's always
you have to have the right team that goes, yes, we need something. Which again, I know it happens all the time, but I'm gonna throw Edmonton out there because we saw what happened in the playoffs.
Right.
They had two. You might as well have had. There was nice save, big guy. I'm forgetting the name. You might have had like that in net, like an actual like fucking seal in net or something.
Duncan?
But it's like
Duncan.
Walrus.
Yeah,
Duncan the walrus.
Duncan.
You didn't even get the animal right.
Yeah, whatever. Why would I get things right ever?
Save, big guy.
But it's
or our friend Nick.
Yeah. But it's like when you have there's team. There's yeah, I think so too. But I think there's always a market for goalies, like especially a playoff team like Edmonton that maybe you had high hopes for, and the goaltending was hot garbage from everyone. And I know the defense isn't much better. I don't know how much Georgiev helps, but if you have a team that believes this guy may make that much of a difference, the market might be there. But I think Buchnevich and the Carolina pick is your best package to, again, maybe not necessarily speed up the rebuild, but just get a piece going forward. But again, I don't know how much the team even wants to trade the Carolina pick. If they want to, it's kind of just.
I wouldn't want to see. I mean, this is just me. I think Buch, I don't want to say is like a foregone conclusion, but I think Buch is probably going to be a casualty of this. Mm-hmm. I think even maybe Hedl might be. I don't know if they necessarily move on from him, but I think maybe. I personally, I would not want to see them trade that Carolina pick, only because I think at it being in like the high to mid 20s, I think we're thinking it's going to be. I think they can get a decent center there. That's somebody that maybe, in a couple of years that could come in and try to compete. If they did trade, they'd have to get some form of center back. They just kind of have to.
Yeah.
But then what happens with guys like Howden? What happens with guys like Hedl? What happens with guys like Strong? I think what they do before this trade is going to be telling, because I also think another situation, which is sort of interesting, is that you have a guy like Nils Lundkvist who essentially does the same thing that Tony DeAngelo does, who essentially does the same thing Adam Fox does. I think Nils Lundkvist could be somebody that gets moved as well, and I know that might be sacrilege to say, but he's not coming for another year, so he's not going to be here this year. And even if he was, it's not like he's going to be an immediate help. I think that could be somebody that you say, all right, here, I'll trade you this blue chip prospect for this blue chip prospect. Like kind of like not blue chip, but like what the Rangers did with Gauthier and Keane. I mean, I know I want like Alex to speak on this as well, but I think you have to look at, okay, how many open spots are in this roster? Like as much as this team is rebuilding, you have a decent amount of guys that you can already fill this and years going forward. You can already fill the lineup with, whether you have a set 9 forwards and 3 or 4 defensemen that in 3 years you can confidently say. Not again.
Those strong guys.
I'll just wait for him to come back. Anyway, with you, who is with Nils? Oh, he's back. Keep going.
What was I? Oh, I was just saying how many roster spots are set in the next 3 years? Like you have to look at how do you fill those spots that you don't know about. If you have confidence in 3 or 4 defensemen that in 3 years these guys are going to be in this lineup, all these prospects aren't going to crack your NHL roster. So what you're saying is maybe you trade one of these guys based off their potential. It's also not. I think it's a move people might not, and I didn't until you said it, but I think it's a move people might not necessarily look into because they're not right there in front of you.
Yeah, and this is just me thinking, like, I don't know what Nils Lundqvist is going to be. I think they hit a home run with him. I really do. Al, I'll just ask you, is that maybe something you thought of, maybe something you didn't think of? Are you open to it, Nils Lundqvist, or is it something you'd like to hang on to? I mean, just you personally.
I mean, for any of these guys that we really haven't seen it yet, I'm always kind of open to being able to trade them. You know, there's never a sure thing. As good as someone might be, I mean, besides maybe the first overall pick, but as good as someone might be, it's never a sure thing.
Confirms wanting to trade the pick. Confirmed.
It's never it's never a sure thing that they're going to produce in the league. You know, they could look amazing, and then all of a sudden they hit the NHL and it's just a different style of play, and they're not able to play. Like, you see it a lot,
Correct.
Especially these guys coming from Europe and Russia. So,
right.
You know, I like the guy a lot from what I've seen. I personally wouldn't want to trade him, but you know, you got to keep an open mindset, and if someone really wants him, then send a good offer.
I think, like, and this is just me thinking out loud here, and not saying that this is what I want to have happen or what could happen. I think a package of like Booch, Nils Lundqvist, and maybe even that Carolina first, that could bring back a real hefty return.
It could.
And I think that those are assets that they could lose, especially if they brought back like a really solid top 4 defenseman, or maybe like that second line center that they need. Who knows? And like, I don't want to sit here and be like, well, this is a guy we should go after. This is a guy who should get after. We all know what the Rangers need. They need those guys that can play the one-on-one playoff style hockey up front. And then they need to get more shirt up on the back end, because like you said, DeAndre Miller could come in and he might not be the guy. He might not be good enough. So I will say this to you guys. I'll pose this to you. With these trades, regardless of whomever it be, prospect, Booch, you know, whatever, is what would you want to see them bring back? Not specific player, but like a specific type of player. I mean, Al, what do you think? I'll go to you there again.
I think we need a real defensive defenseman presence, to be honest. Like, we were mentioning it with Lindgren before and how he's playing very well, but you know, I think we need somebody that, you know, it's tough to say. It's tough to even like be able to know where you want to put them on those lines too. But we have so many of these little guys, as we were talking about before. I think we just need one of these big blue line defensive defensemen.
Yeah, I agree with that a lot. I think even
plus I love clappers from the blue line. Those guys can take them. Am I right?
Oh yeah, a bunch of big clappers, bud? But yeah, no, I really do think that is something that they lack. That bottom pair. Like maybe just a really solid penalty kill, stay at home type of guy. I do think, and like I said, I don't know who, it could be anybody, but I think that is important too. I mean, I wouldn't want to overpay for anybody like that, but it is very rare that there are guys like Victor Hedman who can be like everything, because the Rangers have like that offensive talent. It's just a matter of, can they defend in their own end, which they clearly cannot right now. So Bruce, I'll pose the same question to you. What do you think?
I mean, I'm kind of like going through everything, and I feel like they could use that bottom 6 just tough forward that they had, you know, when they had it in Dom Moore, the year they went to the Cup final. I feel like since then, I mean, it goes very unnoticed with a lot of hockey fans, how much that brings. And I know you got a guy like Lemieux, and I know you have like some other guys, but like a guy like Greg McKegg doesn't cut it. And
no.
But it's like I think yeah, like they're not.
Those guys are
guy.
depth forwards on a playoff team. Both of those guys.
I think honestly, like I think it's an underrated part of a lineup. I think you need that. Like I say, Dom Moore, just because that's the last guy I feel like the Rangers had that tough fourth line guy, could score a few points, but mostly it was just super physical. You know, brought
face-offs.
Right, good at
that would be awesome too.
Good at face-offs in the bottom 6. You're missing that guy, I think. And I know these packages, that's not a guy you're bringing back, but just in general, I think they need to go out and find that guy, because it's when you throw that fourth line out there, what confidence do you have? I mean, I got tired of watching Greg McKegg just like, and David Quinn was
skate with his head down into the offensive zone, because he loves to do that. Right, and I think that for this team. I think I don't like to be this person. Like we're not like this new age hockey fan. All of us, like, we understand the game has changed. But if you look at the teams that have won over the past They all are well-diversified teams that can play tough and they can defend well. The thing that the Rangers need to work on is they need to defend better in their own end, and they need to be able to win those one-on-one battles. And I don't think that's even really up for discussion. If you look at a team like St. Louis, what did they do? They played you tough. They played well because they had the top-end talent, guys like Terashenko and guys like O'Reilly. And then you have defend great. They probably had the best defensive core that I've seen in a long time. And then even a team like the Capitals had all the high-end talent, Ovechkin. Even the Penguins had high-end talent, but then also had guys like Russ, Kunakl, Sheary, guys like that. Like, I think the Rangers need to find a guy, and I know this is like such a pipe dream but a guy like Tom Wilson can go like so far on a team like this. And like I said, I don't know who that is. I don't know if that probably even exists, but they need somebody like that because I think they want Brett Howden to be that Dom Moore type guy. I just don't know if he is, but you have Lemieux, who I think is a good start on your fourth line. I think Foss is a good type of fourth line guy. And then I think you just go from there. I think you need a bit more. And I don't like everybody seems to on Twitter, especially poo-poo well, we don't need grit. You do. Like you need to be balanced because clearly, as you saw, the Rangers, who had all the talent in the world, could not do anything against the Carolina Hurricanes.
Does anyone on this roster forecheck?
That's the system more than anything that has not too much. You're right. I don't disagree with you. But all right, I could beat that dead horse all day. But yeah, personally for me, I'd like to see maybe like a really defensive-minded bottom six guy like Al said. And then I think you're right too with finding like that Dom Moore-esque matchup type of guy. I think they had that in Kevin Hayes. Which not that he's the Dom Moore type guy, but Kevin Hayes was one of the best matchup defense centers that I've seen in a while.
And then Philly gave him a lot of money,
$7 million. But yeah, I mean, so let's go with this too, because I don't know if we really touched on that. If let's say they don't trade that second pick that they have, which is probably going to be in the high 20s, is there any not particular player you like, but the position you like? I think we'd all maybe agree center. Do we all kind of agree with that if they draft that? I've been seeing this guy's name, Maverick Bork, come up a lot. I don't know anything about that guy, but I'll ask you, Al. You think center, or maybe defenseman as well?
I think with that first round pick, yeah, you should be going center. And something I also want to bring up too is like, okay, maybe not trade away the pick to get a player, but what about putting together a package to move up in the draft and get one of the better centers that are closer to the 10 to 15 range?
That's attainable too. That's very attainable too. I think they have a good amount of draft this year. Bruce, I don't know if you know exactly how many picks they have. I know they have a couple in later rounds. So
the only pick I know they don't have is that second round pick, but
they have a late second.
It was for Adam Fox.
Right.
So
you're right. But yeah,
they have Dallas's third round pick,
right?
And they have Nashville's seventh and Vancouver's seventh. But at that point, Henrik Lundqvist was a pick, but at that point, we're not going to sit here and talk about seventh round prospects. We can barely talk about first round prospects.
All right. I think personally that actually I like what Al said. I didn't even think of that personally. Yeah. I think you could probably take a couple of those later round picks and maybe like a player and be like, hey, we really like this guy for the way he plays, and I'm personally starting to do my own research on the draft just to be familiar with this draft class. I mean, we obviously know
you can read like mock drafts. You can start looking up highlights. There's a lot you can do now, of course.
Right. I just think we all as a whole do think that because you can add Lafreniere, but he's not going to fix the entire team. He's just not going to do it. They have to defend better. And I actually am glad Al said what he did because personally, I don't love the defense. And yes, you want offensively minded guys and guys who can move the puck, but eventually you're going to get stuck in your own end and eventually you're going to have to defend that. So I'm with that too. But
yeah, and something I've been saying actually since last offseason too is that this draft class has just been projected to be such a deep class, and it's showing right now when people are talking about mocks and talking about some of these prospects. I always was saying, like, going into the year, I was like, well, of course I'd like the Rangers to be able to compete for a cup, but I wouldn't mind them not making the playoffs and getting a top 15 pick. And, if we can get a second one of those, that would be invaluable, I think.
Yeah, I think at this point, though, you got to eventually turn the corner. And I think now that you have Laugh, I think you've afforded yourself the ability, like I the cliche I keep, not the cliche, but the idiom I keep using of kicking the can down the road. I think after next year, you have to be like, all right, we need to make the playoffs now. And
I also, I just want to add in terms of like trading the pick. I think we kind of also need to kind of say like this isn't this isn't like the NFL draft where, okay, well, we need this specific position, so we'll just trade up and get a guy that's NFL ready. When you start getting like, okay, you look at this draft, Lafreniere is probably NHL ready, day one. Can we even say that about, maybe a few guys in the top 5 might be NHL ready? But then when you start creeping down into like outside the lottery picks, and then in the 20s, like you're talking about even guys there aren't ready. And
I think the only other guy is Stutzel. That's the only other guy. I think he's
so
the
too.
only other one.
And Byfield is.
Byfield,
I don't know.
I don't think Byfield's NHL ready. I think he's a project.
I was going to say though that might coincide more with what we were saying on the last episode of maybe giving Strome a shorter term deal and then you take a center that will be like, all right, well, we don't need you for 2 years, but let's hope you're ready in 3 when Strome's deal would run out.
Yeah, for sure.
I agree with that too. I do. I think that arbitration deal on Strome would probably be almost invaluable for them.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot now that we've talked about it.
Yeah, it's almost it's. Let me just say this, and maybe this will help, unless anybody has anything to say. I was listening to, like I mentioned before, Scott Burnside and Pierre LeBrun's 2-Man Advantage podcast, and they interviewed JD, and they were like, Pierre LeBrun was trying to get him to say, "Oh, we are not going to change the pick," but you know how teams are; they're never going to openly come out and say that. Like they're just not going to do it. And he brought up an interesting point, and I want to just say this to anybody who thinks they should trade the pick is I forgot who it was.
Go fuck yourself.
Well, yes, I've already said that, but he mentioned the fact that during the year of Patrick Kane's draft, Patrick Kane was by far the number 1 pick, not even close, in the 2007 draft. And Chicago needed a center pretty desperately. And they were like, well, maybe we should take the center, trade down, get a guy like Kyle Turris, da-da-da-da. No, you take the best player available, regardless of position. You do not draft for need in the top round because it does not work out. And the Rangers have showed you that when you draft for need in the top round, it does not work out. Do I have to bring up guys like Dylan McElrath? Do I have to bring up guys like Bobby Sanguinetti? Do I have to bring up Elias Anderson? Because I can be here
Jamie
all day.
Lundmark.
Yep, all of them. Drafted for – you don't do that. You take the best player available, and then you do it again. If you have an extra pick like
Montoya.
Yes, Al Montoya is another one too. Al Montoya is another one because they didn't believe that Lundqvist would be the guy, so they took with the 6th pick, Al Montoya.
Did the Rangers pass? Did the Rangers pass on Barzal, or did they just miss him?
They didn't have a first-round pick that year.
What a surprise!
That was when we wanted them to trade. That draft was deep too, man.
It was.
It's just you got to take the player. This is to be good. Like you look at a team like Pittsburgh and you look at a team like Washington, they had to get lucky to get Ovechkin and get Crosby. Like they just had to be. And Al's frozen. Oh no. Oh, he's back. He's back now.
I lost it for a second.
He's back now. But yeah, I mean, obviously you need the luck, but I don't know, man. I'm just super excited. It completely changed my tone. That just one ping pong ball completely changed my tone. How much time do we have left? I'm just going to ask.
At least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, good. All right. I mean, going forward, I just would love to I just would love to see this team get a little tougher. And I think that's where JD is going to come in more than anything. And like I said, I don't know who, but man, I'm
very confident in his ability to put a potentially winning team together because we've seen him pretty much do it twice already.
I mean, his fingerprints are all over that St. Louis team, and Columbus. And that Columbus team is a real tough out, even without guys like Panarin and Dzingel. Like, that's still a real tough out of a team. So, and which I guess is not even being talked about so much is that like they have the goalie too, and like especially in a Metro division where the goaltending is probably going to be, and if not is the best in the league. Guys like Sorokin, Samsonov. It's Mackenzie Black.
10 minutes left.
Not Mackenzie Black, but not Mackenzie I don't know, man. That's all I got. You guys got anything else you want to talk about? I think we.
I could keep talking about more stuff, but no need to on this episode.
Yeah, that's why we'll make more videos going forward. That's why you should subscribe to this channel that you're watching right now. However you got here, whether it's from Facebook, from one of our Facebook friends that clicked on it,
Reddit,
hit subscribe. Reddit, the R Rangers, R whatever the hell you upload to.
We don't have any other social media, so that's
because we're not going to keep up. I'm not going to keep up with Twitter. We can post.
No, we did that whole hockey media thing, and it is not fun. This is as much as I want to do. Honestly,
who has the time?
No,
I know. Don't even want to convert this into podcast format. Just keep it as a video.
It's going to go on YouTube to stay. I literally spent this one just uploading the videos that we have. The first one's live, even though. That means nothing.
I'm gonna go watch
it. Even though that means nothing to the people watching.
Yeah,
because you've already seen
it. Why aren't you go back and watch it? I assume you already did by that point.
Yeah,
my dad and Alex's girlfriend maybe, and me because I know I'm gonna watch it. Other than that, I have nobody else that I know who's going to watch it.
Hey, you think Nick's gonna watch it?
No. I guarantee you he won't. Even though this is this is perfect for him too. I'm actually kind of bummed he didn't come on tonight. I thought
next time, next time.
Al, you know what, Al, you're just a part of this now. I've just decided.
I feel like this is
make me want to cry tears of joy.
Yeah, I
mean, this is an exclusive club for a long time. We didn't have any guests, and now you're just a part of it.
Hey, guests are fun based on our stupid 12-man podcast.
I thought that podcast wasn't stupid.
Sorry, not stupid podcast. Yeah,
yeah, man, come on.
Plugs here. I don't even know the name of my own podcast.
Yeah, also go follow that one if you like Dynasty Fantasy Football or just
subscribe to Lucho Leone on YouTube.
I was going to say, not even if you like Dynasty Fantasy Football, if you just like someone else's league talking about their players, which nobody likes.
We give great fantasy advice. If we do Dynasty Hockey, we can do another podcast.
Yo, yes. I want to do it just because of that. Oh, my God. Yo. We have 6 guys. If anybody's watching this and would like to be in a Dynasty Hockey League, please just send me a message. I won't give you my socials, but you can find me.
Here's his phone number, his address, his social security number.
A list of his fears, where he keeps his spare key. I think we have a good amount of people now for that. I think that actually might happen. It might be a 10-man league to start, but
it has to get to 10. It has to get to 10.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I think we have 6 now. I got to
Well, no, I mean, the nice part, though, is that even if you have a lower number of people in a league, you just put more starting spots.
Right. And I think I personally think that I can get 10. I just have to ask a couple of the guys I went to school with.
Sure. I mean, me and Dog are locked into splitting a team, so
yeah, no, that's fine.
There's one spot.
I mean, me, you, Bruce, you guys, obviously that's 3, and then Steve would do it. Try to convince Dan to do it. Yeah, and then who else? I had the one guy. I had two guys from work. So actually, this might be a little bit better than I thought it would be. I could probably.
Sick.
I want to say Nick, but I know it's not. I just know, I'm not even gonna pretend.
He's not gonna check. Don't.
I could probably find 3 more people, so that might actually work. Which actually be super interesting. So, like I said, if you are interested and you're watching this, just hit me up and find me. Put a note on my door. It's like this is college. Put it on my whiteboard outside my door.
But so hey, listen. Thanks for checking us out. Like I've said, subscribe, watch all our other episodes, even though their timeline they're irrelevant now. But
no, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, watch anyway. At least give us the clicks and the likes. Do something. Help us out.
You owe it to us.
Yeah, we've entertained you for an hour now.
Yeah, you jerks.
I think longer.
Oh shit!
At least an hour and a half. It's got
40-minute episode. So yeah, at least
I've been staring at.
Technically,
LED,
it's not.
I've been staring at LED lights now for about 3.5 hours. So, thanks.
But so yeah, thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks, thanks Alex for coming on. Even though you're just a part of this now,
you're just part of it.
Anytime.
3-man podcast. Why not?
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks for coming.
That's it. We'll see you next time. Again,
just want to thank everyone for coming out.
My fourth time, long time.
All right. Bye. Goodbye. See you later.